everybody. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I'm Dr. Kelly Tanner. Today, I have
Mhm.
with me one of my new Canadian friends, Jodie Cantarelli. Jodie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. You guys, I love to bring on guests who just shine their light in the world. And Jodie is one of those humans. And she has had such a diverse background and has such a cool expertise that I wanted you to hear her story. Jody, tell us why dental hygiene for you. Did you choose it? Did it choose you?
Yeah, actually, I chose it, and I remember at a very early age, for whatever reason I can't even explain, but I knew in grade 10. I was, what, 15, and I knew that I wanted to be in dentistry. I knew that I wanted to that was my goal. I was gonna be a dental hygienist, not realizing at the time how incredibly challenging it was. So, yeah, I knew right there and then. I went for it, and so proud to be here today.
What drew you to it, would you say? Like, what was your thing? Like, yes. Was there a moment? Was it a feeling or
Yeah, there was a moment actually. I remember growing up and I this sounds silly, but I remember people always complimenting my smile and my teeth. And I thought, oh, and I guess eventually it sort of absorbed, sort of, osmosis kind of in my brain.
yeah.
And I was at an appointment. I booked myself an appointment. I I ran home and said, "Mom, do we have insurance?" And she said, "Yeah, why?" I said, "Well, I'm going to the dentist." And she's, "What?" And so I got on the bus after school and I did make myself an appointment. I got on the bus and I ended up at the office and I was so thrilled that I took initiative and I did this on my own. And I walked into the office and had my appointment, and it was with a dental hygienist, of course, and I was thrilled. I just thought, wow, I loved her. I loved her approach. I loved the independence. At the time, even I realized early that she had independence. And she seemed to have a really good gig. So I left that office thinking, this is what I want to do. And so I don't know, to this day, I don't remember her name, but I would love to go back and say thank you because she did influence me that day.
Mm.
Yeah,
How old were you when you made this appointment for yourself?
I was 15. And I knew it was important. Healthcare was important. And so I took initiative to, make sure that I had all of those appointments um, as a routine assessment. I knew early for some reason that I needed to go and have my dental exams and my routine maintenance and my eye exams and my, physicals. And yeah. So that was one of
That's
them.
cool. I'm sure your mom was like, "What?"
What are you doing? I can bring you. I'm like, no, no, I already did it.
So, Jody, after you started making your appointments at 15, what was next for you? I mean, you enrolled at dental hygiene at 16?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I realized I think that at that point, I remember thinking that um, I was so driven. I think anything I wanted to achieve, I figured it out. And that's just the way I am. I'm one of those that, you're faced with something that you think, oh my goodness, how are we going to get through this? I always, always know in my heart that I'm going to figure it out somehow. And whatever it is that I'm going to go for, I will get, whether it's something that's just beyond like sometimes you think, "Oh, I don't know if I can get there." Like in dental hygiene, I didn't know if I could get there, but I knew that I remember saying to myself, nobody's gonna stop me. I don't care what school says you're on the waiting list or not." And at the time, it was very, very, very hard to get in. And I thought, "Okay." So I got in my car one day and drove down to upstate New York and went into the dean's office with all of my documentation. I said, "I'm not leaving until you accept me." And I was maybe, I don't know, I graduated high school, of course, and he kinda looked at me all surprised, and I was so confident because I had everything he needed, and I wasn't gonna give up. And so he kinda looked at me and thought, "Oh my goodness." And so he said, "Okay." He goes, "But I'm gonna ask you one thing, one condition. You come a semester early, and you get all your sciences out of the way, and then you can have a spot in the fall cohort." I said, "Done." But keep in mind, I had actually, yeah, I just got married, and I said to my husband, "I'm gonna drive down and darn it, I'm gonna get in." And so I did, and I didn't leave. I said, I'll do that. I need you to write me a letter saying that I have a spot in the fall, and I will definitely do that." And he goes, "Okay, fine." So he went away in his little office, came back with a letter and said, "Here you go." And I drove back home. So I started in the
Wow.
yeah, it's like a month and a half later, I started in January and, yep, got my sciences. That was very smart on his part because, first of all, it was all the sciences, get all the challenging courses,
Yeah.
concentrate, but he also knew that I was an international student, and so my tuition was triple, and so he was quite smart in it from a business sense, but I got what I wanted, and, I was really, really driven. I did extremely well in that program. I was on the honors roll, the dean's list, whatever it was, I achieved it. I wasn't the greatest high school student, but when I did graduate from high school, I remember going, okay, that was wrong. So, I need to really focus in and do what I need to do. So I had a little bit more of a challenge because of my, not realizing in high school that your marks are going to affect you. And so I had a little bit more of a challenge, but yeah, and it was history from there.
Yeah, going back to you said anything that you wanna figure out, you're gonna figure out. You
I'm
know
gonna
that you're
figure
gonna
it out.
get through it. Do you remember when that started for you?
I think it started then. I knew when I was applying for hygiene and I wasn't getting in or I was on the waiting list or whatever, I thought, "Darn, there is like, I'm sorry, but no. I'm gonna figure this out and I will get in," because I was so determined to be a dental hygienist at the time.
Well, and I'm
Mhm.
bringing light to this too because I feel like I'm the same way. Because 'cause I'm just like, "You know what? This is the challenge in front of me. I know I'm gonna figure it out. This may be seem like the end of the world,
Yeah.
depending on what it is right
Yep.
now, or that it's something that I can't overcome, but I think it's about mindset. And
Yes.
it is about knowing that what is in front of you is only temporary,
Yep.
that there are ways that you can learn to get around it, and I just don't I wasn't sure if that was taught to you by one of your parents. Did your parents always say, like, "You can do whatever you want"?
Yes. Yes, actually, my father did. He always said, "You can whatever it is that you want to achieve, you can get it." So they did instill that in me. Um, yeah, and I just naturally took it and ran with it, I guess.
Well, when you're a kid too, you believe what your parents say,
For
like, "It's
sure.
gonna be
Yeah.
okay, it's gonna" but some folks out there may not have grown up with that, may have grown up with the opposite of saying that you're never going to amount to anything, it's the little voices in your head, so I believe that some of this comes from our upbringing, and then it comes from what the story that someone else tells you is true, then what you internalize is true, and then you end up proving to yourself is true.
Yeah.
Because there's some point in our lives too, and I don't know if you've hit this part of your life or, because I talked to a lot of people who have, that we look back and it's like, "Why do I believe that again? Who
Me too.
told me to believe that?" Have you hit that part in your life yet?
Yeah, why yeah. Why is that always in my head?
Like, where did that even come from? Who is telling me that?
Yeah.
This is not why is this loop playing in my head?
Yeah.
So I think that is we talk about mindset all the time, and I know that that's what your day-to-day is helping people with as well, clinically,
Yeah.
as people, as humans, and I'm sure too that when you kind of unravel what it is that you're coaching people through, or that you're things that you're seeing, limiting beliefs, that a lot of that comes from that mindset.
You're absolutely right. I was gonna say that I think it serves me very well today because I know that I'm constantly, faced with challenges, whether they're small challenges or huge challenges. I know that I'm gonna figure it out. I'm just gonna work through it. I have the confidence now and the knowledge and experience to be able to, "Don't worry, we're gonna figure this out." And so as a leader, that helps them kind of go, "Okay," right? Because they need somebody that's gonna guide them and believe in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find that from coaching that sometimes if there's a disconnect on I don't know, on anything, like, if they're feeling stuck, right, or
Yes.
very myopic on something that they're focusing only on this, that's a mindset too, that it's
Mm.
hard to come out of it and say, "Okay, there's way more to it than that, that this I am this healthcare provider. This is who I am and get who
Yes.
I get to show up as."
Yeah. Yes, and it's funny that you said that. So, um, I'm I find myself, especially with dental hygienists, I find myself saying that exact thing. "You're a healthcare provider, and let's look at things in a way that, as a healthcare provider, your professional opinion matters." I find the other side of the coin is that there's a very there's a mindset that's very narrow-minded, and they're honed in on one thing, being the dollar per hour as an example. They're honed in on, well, this dollar per hour I can get here and I can go down the road, and there's such a competition now with that. That the bigger picture is not being considered. They don't see it. And so knowing that, okay, great, the dollar per hour is one thing, but you're a healthcare provider providing a professional service. There's a bigger picture that I really concentrate on showing them. There's culture. There is, when you get up every day, you're going to go to this place. Is it going to make you happy? Or, that dollar per hour, is that going to be the focus for you? Because there is other aspects of hygiene that we need to consider as well. And so they always look at me like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." But I think that's what the culture is today, right now, and that's what they're being taught, is that the dollar per hour is, you can get this, without realizing, hang on, let's look at the big picture, right? And the negativity that I find comes with it lately is very, I find it a disservice. Some of the Facebook groups, let's say, I don't belong to any of them because it's so negative,
Yeah, it's
and
hard to be there.
it is hard. It's hard, and I wanna be able to jump in and say, "Guys, it's not like that." Like, yeah, one person may have said something and the other person believes it, and then all of a sudden it's like this big, you know, discussion that there's no facts, and it makes me sad because this profession really is a great profession, and, having the do good attitude and the positivity is becoming more challenging because of the culture the way it is right now. So,
Yeah, and I wonder too, Jody, if those folks that are on the we'll talk about broadly. I mean, we're overgeneralizing here. Some of these Facebook groups or other groups, other communities that start to spiral and get negative, if that is also a carryover from their life on the outside of the office too. You know,
yes. Yeah.
are they the same professionally as they are outside, and is that just who they are?
Yeah.
And I mean, because we mirror who we are, we're attracting who we are. Um if there's something that we need to outgrow or overcome, we're usually attracting a circumstance that we need to overcome or or outgrow.
Yeah. It's true. You're absolutely right. If your home life is one way, obviously you're gonna bring it into work, but then everybody feeds on it, and that's where the challenge becomes an issue.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
as a coach, you can be as clinical minded and as
Yeah.
technique, whatever this, hold it like this, do it this way,
Mhm.
this is how you chart it, this is what code you use, but it's the human side of things. It's the where does it start with them and what are they bringing into the practice that they are focusing on, whether it be the dollar, whether it be what the assistant said, whether it be something that the patient said that affected them. How
Yeah.
are you setting up your boundaries around you to show up as the practitioner
Right.
that we all took the oath to be?
Right. Right. And that's where, I guess starting with the entire team, building them up, right? Um, yeah, it's always a challenge, I find, and I'm saddened by it because I know people, um, you know, it does affect the entire team when there is one or two people that are not feeling their best or that are not personally in their best place. So it's more prevalent, I find, lately, and I'm forever dealing with that as a regional director. With Passion Dental Group, they're fantastic, and the culture is their focus. And I know that, you know, the DSO space hasn't been the there's a bit of a narrative around it, And I've been in the DSO space for the last 12 years or so. I've seen the different aspects of the DSOs and how they work.
Yeah.
Um, and, not every DSO is the same. It is a very good thing. It's a great opportunity in the industry for dentists and, whether they're partners, whether they're owners, associates, whatever that may be, specialists, whatever that may be. There's opportunity here with the DSOs, but the teams I find are being, um, I guess, not knowledgeable. They're not provided the knowledge to be able to understand what the DSO is all about and what they present, right? It's just a sort of a guess, and people are assuming, and then all of a sudden everybody says, "Oh my god, don't work there because they're a DSO and this is why," when they don't really have the knowledge, and that saddens me because I know I've lived in this space and I see the differences between them.
There are big differences.
Big,
There
big
are
differences.
huge differences. I have worked in a DSO space as well. I've worked in large practices, small practices, all over, Jody, and it is one size, it's not the same flavor of ice cream.
It's not. It is not, you're right. You go into an ice cream shop and you're gonna pick the one that suits you, that you like, right? Same with the DSO, but they, for some reason, have this one big giant, you know, this is what they're all about. Well,
This is ice cream. It is the ice cream. But, too, Jody, it's about knowing how to interview
yes,
and, using your own discernment on what is right for you. Do you know what's right for you? It's
right.
kinda you can be bad at dating too, I mean, there's, where it's you'll see the people that go, "Oh, just all of this gender or whatever are like this," you
That's
know?
right, that's right, that's right.
And that's not true
No,
because it's not true.
it's
Because
not
you had a
true.
couple of different experiences, and
That's
that reality for you doesn't mean it's reality for everyone else. So what are you gonna do to change your picker next
yeah.
time?
That's right. That's right. Educate. I find, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not all the same, right? Ask questions. The opportunities within a DSO is tremendous. And, for the people that work in the practice, it's tremendous, but they don't see that yet. And I think I would love to be able to hone in on that and change the narrative and show them it's different. Right? So it's a different way of looking at dentistry like it used to be. It used to be private practice, independent, and now it's more, okay, there's more people involved and there's a company
Yeah.
involved. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing.
It's support.
It's support. It's
It's
entirely
support.
support. We no longer have to be the IT, marketing, troubleshooting, ordering. We don't have to be that one jack of all trades anymore. We have the people. We don't have to be HR at the same time. We have people that are in place to support.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think of, there's a place for DSOs, there's a place for large, small practices, the whole thing. But to one of our original points as we're talking about the, dental service organ it's dental support because
Yes.
we get more support, and it means that that many times in those offices, there's just more to offer for the clinicians, for,
Absolutely.
more human resources, more developmental resources.
That's right.
Um, you can leverage your own time, talents, and treasures. So,
Yeah.
Jody, tell us about what your day-to-day is like, because I know people are always fascinated by the different career paths of a hygienist.
Yeah, I have to say, I look back when I graduated thinking, "Oh my goodness, I have accomplished so much in my own goals in my life that I was so proud." At the time, and there wasn't it was you got your first job and you worked in a beautiful practice that you chose and whatever, and it was always a good thing, but, the opportunities back then were not like they are today. I found that I forged a way in my career and sort of, made my path and found my career path and where I am today. My daily, I guess what my day looks like every day is working with several practices in the region. I'm guiding them. I'm down and dirty in the clinic working with them. Sometimes I'm coaching them, sometimes I'm doing budgets, sometimes I'm working with finance, sometimes I'm there's a whole bunch of aspects to working with practices outside the clinic that
Mhm.
people don't see, which I love because it's multitasking at its finest. I mean, as I used to be an assistant, we are masters at multitasking. So I think that really served me well in operations now, multitasking, working with, doctors and um, with HR and working with, we're gonna implement this new program. We're gonna bring in IV sedation. How do we do that? We're gonna
Mm.
there's all kinds of really interesting things that I do every day. I'm the liaison, I guess, really between our support office and the clinics. So I'm the sort of the go-to in between and figuring out stuff for each practice. So it's really interesting every day. And I'm all over the place. I'm not in one practice. I am at this practice one day, at this practice the next day, you know, maybe putting together a program for the next practice or whatever it may be. So it's very interesting. Really keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, there's definitely variety every day, and the people, the situations. I mean, no day in dentistry is the same anyway.
Nope.
And then you take that and you mix up the people,
That's right.
the magic 8 ball, it's like,
That's
what
right.
but I mean, the essence is there, what we do in the profession is there. So it sounds like too that you're there to align people with clinical skills, your human skills. You are looking at the bigger picture because
Yes.
you're not only in the operatory, you're able to step back and say,
That's
"Here's
right.
what's going on."
Yes. And having the experience in the operatory all those years, for many, many, many years, I find is for me is the best part because I know and I live this world. And so everybody I work with, I always say, I may be the regional director, but it doesn't mean I don't know what you do every day because I live it. I live what you do every day. So when
Yeah,
there's something, they're saying, "Hey, I need help with this," or "This isn't working." I get it. I get it. I lived it. I know the challenges. I know, customized patient care. I know what that looks like. I know how to design it. I know how to approach it. And so I really value that in my approach. And I think the people I work with as well. We're all aligned. So it's really important.
do you find that y do you find that generally speaking, I know that we can't do one size fits all, but that hygienists could be better at asking for help?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think as humans, a lot of us could, right? A lot of us could. And even me, I remember learning the hard way, like ask for help and stop trying to do everything yourself.
Mhm.
I love your story how, you worked so hard and you had a goal and you realized, wait a minute, maybe I'm focused on, what the goal being, what does financial health look like rather than a goal of overall health and mental health and all of that. Because I've been where you have as well, a burnout and thinking that I had to achieve something and it had to be, done through the means of work hard and burnout, and then show them how much you're willing to give them until you realize, wait a minute, my mental health is not okay right now.
That's right. I'm worth more
Right?
than that. I'm worth more than that.
Yeah. And so finding a place again, speaking of culture, finding a place that, you know, you're not, you're working unhappy at the same time. And it's not easy to find that, even though it sounds easy, it's not. I've spent many years, trying to chase that success, whatever that looked like in my head. It was like, oh, I'm going to prove to them and I'm going to show them what I'm worth. And then I realized after a while, wait a minute, I've got to show myself what I'm worth
Right.
before I can do it to them. And so thankfully, I'm in a place now where it's just an an absolute pleasure to wake up in the morning, come to work, know that I'm in a place where, I'm valued and I value my coworkers as well. So what a difference. And so asking for help, yeah, it's one of those things that you don't realize you don't know until you don't know.
Yeah, and I think too that sometimes we feel like that if there's a change or if we have a question about something that there's gonna be, like, this big lift that we have to have, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's just these little small things that we realize right in the moment. Those moments that you're right in the middle of how you're reacting, what you're doing, how you're responding, you're like, "How did I get here?
How did I get here? Yes.
How did I
Yes.
get here?" And
Ye
you're It's in those moments that are defining to you where you go, "I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah.
What needs to change here? And where that needs to be isn't always out here.
That's right.
It's here. It's
That's
here.
right. I think I got to the point where I remember this time when I realized I was burnt out, when I woke up in a hotel room somewhere, I didn't know where I was. I was so I was traveling so much. Every single week, I was somewhere different and trying to help everybody else because, I think my drive at the time was, "Oh, we only want Jodie because she's so good at this, and whatever it was, and we only want her." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll come, I'll come." And I burnt myself out and woke up one day and went, "Where am I? What city am I in?" And that's when I realized, "Oh my goodness, I've gotta take a step back here. This isn't working." So I had to learn to say no. I had to learn to ask for help. And then my path from there changed. That's when I went, okay, this is not working. So yeah, yeah,
It's
it's
it
interesting.
but you I mean, for you, is that waking up
Yep.
and saying, "Where am I?" Not knowing what room number you're in that week.
Right. Or
Yeah.
what city and
Yeah,
oh,
and which
oh,
time zone? I woke
what's
up one I've been between 3 time zones in one day,
yeah.
because I was driving and flew in, and I woke up and I was like, "Oh, do I have a webinar right now? What time zone was that? Do I have it in my computer correctly? Oh my gosh, I need to go catch a flight."
Yeah,
But those are the moments, you guys, that you listen to that little nudge inside of you saying, "Okay, something is not in alignment."
that's right.
And this happens in practice where if you're taking it back to where a lot of you are in private practice and you may be feeling burnout or you may be thinking about that extra dollar an hour, dollar 50.
Yes.
Is the juice worth the squeeze for you professionally? Is there something where you can lean into changes that you're seeing that you could be helpful with, that you have gifts to help where you're currently working that could help change the culture or encourage it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's not like start looking outside of what you're normally seeing and maybe you'll see a little bit more, right?
And some people may say, "That's not, that's what I'm not what I'm here for."
That's
That
right.
needs to already be figured out, but we are all a part of that culture. So if you have that mindset, what does everybody else have?
That's right.
Because everybody else is showing up with a little bit something extra to give
That's
toward the team, but if you're there because you want a paycheck and that's what you're focused on, guess what you're gonna get? You're only gonna get the paycheck. You're not gonna get the feel goods that make you feel really good about being a clinician, because that's not what you're
right.
focused on.
That's right. That's right. I often say there's pick and flickers and there's dental hygienists. Do
Picket flickers.
Are you task oriented? And basically, I just had this conversation the other day. Dental hygiene is not a task. It's not looking at, okay, scaling. Okay, I've done some stain removal. I've done some of this, some of that, some fluoride, well, whatever. I've done all of this. This is not a task. It's healthcare.
Yeah,
You're a provider and this patient is in front of you. Looking at this patient, perhaps the medications, perhaps there's anxiety, perhaps there's allergies that we didn't consider, perhaps there's a whole bigger picture. If there's perio,
right.
right, then a task-oriented approach is not gonna help the person's healthcare, right? So perio is more of a journey, not a task.
Yeah, our code that we assign to the procedure doesn't define who we
That's
are
right.
and what we do.
That's right.
You are so much more than a code, you guys. You are that connector. You are the heartbeat of the practice,
Right.
and bring the heartbeat.
That's right.
Bring the
That's
heartbeat.
right. A successful hygiene team will help build the doctor's schedule by a major percentage. And so having that strong team that, you know, collaborate together and work together and be that healthcare focused rather than task focused can really support the doctor's schedule in a
Absolutely.
very big way. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Jody, I'd love that you get to live out your dream and your mindset every day through because you're doing that. You've embraced it, you've internalized it, and then now you get to go touch lives on with people who need that, and be that ray of sunshine
I
for
hope so.
them.
I try. And that's exactly what I hope to do every day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you guys, all of this, it just starts with you knowing your worth,
right.
your mindset, what you're capable of, even what you haven't even thought that you're capable of,
That's
right?
right. That's right. And ask for help, right? Ask for help if you know. Right.
Yes, ask for help or say, "If I don't know the answer, let's find you someone who can help you,"
That's right. You got
'cause
it.
we're that connector. Well, Jody, thank you so much for being on today.
Oh, it was such a pleasure. It was such a pleasure. Thank you. Mhm.
Yes, so kind of you to spend your time. And if you guys want to reach out to Jody, her information is in the show notes if you want consulting advice from Jody. I mean, I'm sure that she has a lot to offer you, so please reach out to her if you have other questions, and she's up in the Toronto area in Canada, just so you guys know too, if you live up that way or around that way.
Mhm.
And for the listeners, thank you so much for all that you do and for your continued support. And you know, I always ask if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and please give the Dental Handoff a 5-star rating right now on Apple because that's the one that feeds the algorithm. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please put a comment in the comment box because that helps to feed the algorithm and place a little doot doot subscribe or like
Perfect.
next to the video. Yes. So it all matters. And we will see you again next time, my friends. And until then, we love you and keep doing good.